Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Polio Jr. And this is going to be a very quick video on the proper way to paint a radiator cover. so, uh, this one is definitely a couple decades old. I did clean it up a little bit already, but I'll just show you some really, just your really basic equipment that you need. Now, this is obviously the main part of the cover. There's actually the top over here, and with the top you would actually obviously just, I would suggest putting painter's tape along the top so you're not hitting the actual wood. But the same process with this guy is what we're going to do with this, but we don't have to tape anything up. So this is actually just going to go against the wall. So all I really need to get is the front and the sides. So as long as you can get it cleaned up pretty well, then you shouldn't have any issues. The first thing I did, which is a product I've used a lot in the past, is Crud Cutter. They advertise it as like this kitchen degreaser, all-purpose cleaner, but it does an excellent job on getting rid of things that have been there for a very, very long time. So let me get my gloves and we'll get started here. Now you can get these nylon gloves. They're really, really inexpensive wherever you do find them. I think I got a pack of 100 for, I don't know, a couple bucks, less than $10. So I'm just kind of going over any part that I see where I feel like, hoping that the paint could possibly go through. And I'm actually going to use a spray can. And the reason I'm using the spray can is because it's a lot less likely that any of the paint will actually drip, and this paint is actually the spray can paint is more intended for metal than anything else. That's its main purpose. So, but the biggest thing that I was concerned about is anything at the bottom here. But the Crud Cutter does an excellent job of getting rid of any kind of soot or anything like that in general. So I've already used it once on it and it came out really well. So I'm just going through and double checking everything. I would suggest, maybe just in case, having some kind of drywall sponge if you absolutely do need it. You probably, depending on how bad it is, and if you really do need to sand it down a little bit, then a sponge may be maybe necessary for you to actually do this. So, but I really just use the Crud Cutter, and I'm just kind of going through everything and doing the best I can here to make sure everything's dried off with an actual paper towel. So since we're not actually putting since we're not actually painting it an actual radiator, I found this guy here, this semi-gloss protective enamel. So it should serve both as a primer and paint. So it's an all-in-one, and it can handle up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So obviously the radiator is going to be inside of here. I believe that 200 degrees should be perfectly fine. If you're painting a radiator, then you would want to look for something a little bit higher than that. So there isn't much else we need to do here. Like I said, with that cover, we just tape around the wood so we make sure that we don't hit it. Do the same thing with all of the metal that you can see here. Just do the same thing if need be. But this should be pretty self-explanatory. I would definitely highly recommend you do this in an open area with a lot of ventilation. Do not use a dust mask. A dust mask only prevents actual like physical dust particles, from you breathing actual dust particles. So you want to get one of those masks that have filters, so that nothing that is paint based or gas based can actually get through. But a dust mask will not prevent that. It'll just literally just prevent dust. So this is what I found here. This Rust-Oleum semi-gloss protective enamel. I love semi-gloss because it's just so much easier to wipe down once it's finished. So we're going to try to do it for maybe roughly a foot over. I'm going to go side by side here as best as I can. And you don't want to stay in one place for too long, because obviously you don't want clumps. If you need to, come back. Not a big deal. Let it dry and come back. So, let's see here. So here I'm just going to go straight down. Now I'm just going to go side to side. We're approximately a foot away as we're painting it. You can already see the difference. And I'm going to go straight down again. Yeah, so as far as anything with, like I said, you definitely want to have you don't just want to use a dust mask because of the, like I said, because of the fumes. So, worst comes to worst, you have a fan that is pushing, where you're standing, pushing all of the paint in the opposite direction. So I just thought it was a little wet down here, so I'm making sure that everything is dry here. I think I actually may have had a little wet spot right here. Not a big deal. I can wipe it off and always come back. No biggie. So, no biggie at all. But so, and worst comes to worst, if when you're finished you see any drips like that, then you would actually use the drywall sponge just to nick that out, and then you could just spray it again. So don't worry about if you have drips. So if this isn't something you do every day, you probably will end up with a couple of drips. So we're going to leave it how it is right now, and then I'm going to record after I'm done painting the first coat and see how it looks. All right. Okay, so here we are after the first coat. I'm not going to lie, there are a couple parts that I did need to wipe off and repaint, but you can definitely tell a difference between how it was before to how it is now. Make sure that you get everything off of the actual radiator cover everything. Make sure it is completely clean. No spider webs, no dirt, no nothing. So there's definitely going to be a couple parts as it starts to dry. Now I have this flickering light over here, which isn't helping a lot. So, but from where I'm standing, for the most part, everything looks 100 times better than what it did. And that was just one coat. This is 12 ounces. So I possibly need to grab one more just to be safe. And I think it's just good just to have in general. And this paint will, from what the bottle says, handle up to about 200 degrees. So it should be perfectly fine to put over any radiator cover. And this is just good if you don't actually have a spray gun in general. Using a spray gun is obviously way easier. So, you can adjust how much pressure you're putting out and so forth. But if you're going to spray it with a can, you want to be at least a foot away. Like I promised me, if you are too close to it, you will definitely see drips and so forth. So, and things that you're just going to have fixed, you're going to have to fix later, but not a huge deal. But yeah, hell yeah. Just a little touching up on this, and this will be right back upstairs. So just it's nice putting things back together that were, seemingly gone, probably going to be thrown away after a couple decades, and seeing it being brought back to life is always a good feeling. So thank you very much for watching. Like I said, I'll put the links in the description for everything that you will need, especially the mask. Don't forget about the mask. Don't mess around and just say, I'll just use a fan or a dust mask or something like that. But you want an actual real mask with filters. So, but yeah, you need a mask, the spray paint, crud cutter, some gloves just to be safe, and some painting tape. It's definitely not that difficult. So, all right, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Later.